Before all things, Obomnoma, the great god of darkness, lay sleeping. His eternal rest had never before been disturbed, for he was all that was. As he slept, a dream arose, which found no root in him. Nuru, the mother of light, birthed the dream, and from the dream she sprang forth. Her desire was for life, and so she began calling it forth from out of the void. Nuru's presence plagued the mighty Obomnoma, for she brought an end to his eternal slumber. He sought to destroy her, though try as he might, his darkness could not overcome her light. He grew to hate Nuru and vowed to destroy anything she created, assuming that she would eventually lose hope and cease to be, thereby allowing him to return to his rest. And so the cycle began. Nuru would create only for Obomnoma to destroy. Her creations were flawless, material manifestations of her perfect thoughts. But as spectacular as her creations were, so too was the power displayed by Obomnoma when he perpetually obliterated them. He relished in his unrivaled power, mocking Nuru in all her attempts. And so it continued, eons passing without change. Nuru remained as determined to create as Obomnoma did to destroy. The two were at an impasse, and while Nuru remained resilient, she knew that her plans needed to change if ever her creations were to remain. She therefore devised a scheme. She would challenge him to a demonstration of power, believing that Obomnoma's pride could be used against him. "Your greatness cannot be overstated, O mighty Obomnoma," she began, as he glared at her bright and glorious face. "In you I find the most worthy of adversaries." Adversary. He scoffed, as he began to pace in front of her, releasing the indignation that her statement had caused. "I have swallowed up all that you've created, not a single speck of your musings remain. You are no adversary of mine. Pathetic woman." The contempt which he felt was made palpable through his raspy and joyless voice. She, however, couldn't help but grin at the arrogance with which he spoke. "Is that so?" she condescendingly asked. "Well then, the proposition I wish to present should be of great interest to you." At this he stopped, once again facing her with his arms crossed and chest puffed. "A wager," she continued. "A display of our glorious might, after which the winner is entitled to keep that which remains." Obomnoma was intrigued. The prospect of finally being rid of Nuru's handiwork was an appealing one. "Agreed," he responded, waiting for her to begin forming that which he would inevitably swallow up. And yet, she did not. "You believe that your glory knows no bounds and that you deserve the position of preeminence," she said, unable to restrain the smile that now decorated her beautiful face. "Therefore, I insist that you begin. Prove your superiority, O great and mighty Obomnoma." Her words perplexed the proud god, who paused to process the request. He could not act, for he had no power to create. He simply stood, frozen, realizing that her trap had not only been set, but sprung. "You have no true power," Nuru continued, as she witnessed the shock settle in his eyes. "Without me, you are weak. You have no glory in and of yourself, you are contingent. Parasitic. Your power to tear down relies on my power to build up, without me you are worthy of nothing." The initial confusion dissipated as his face began to radiate fury. But neither his clenched jaw nor terrible scowl affected her as she continued to barrage his character. "You will forever be in second place," she said. "Subservient. With even the most inconsequential of my formations highlighting your impotency. Impotent." He roared, closing the distance between them, offering not the slightest moment for her to react. This was not the first time that she had experienced his cold amorphous fingers gripping tightly on her wrist, but it was the first time that despite her greatest efforts to resist, she could not break free. Screaming in terror, she desperately tried to scramble, but he held out, dragging her down, mounting her. His cloak enveloping her. "You will regret that, you insolent servant." His chilling voice left no doubt of his malicious intent. "Let this forever serve as a reminder that your rightful place is here, beneath me. Moments. Eternities. His ravaging seemed endless. As the pain and humiliation amplified, her struggling subsided. Each of her pleas for him to stop, drowned out by his constant repetition of one word, impotent. Her dignity, like her luminescent gown, had been stripped from her. The great goddess of life robbed of her majesty by the great god of death. Once the ordeal was over, he rose from her still body and verbalized that which they both knew. Soon you will give birth to death, for you are now the mother of destruction. And so it was. The seeds of his darkness infected all that she formed. An unforgiving universe where stars both emerged and collapsed. Unstable worlds where nature had the power to equally nourish and lay waste. Unpredictable creatures that not only bred, but also devoured. But of all that she birthed, one thing stood out. Humanity. Unexpected sons and daughters who provided her with hope. For while Obomnioma's stain marred them, in them grew the most spectacular of all her creations. Love. They knew no exemption from their father's nature. They fell ill, killed, were corrupted by greed, fear, jealousy, and hate. And yet, in each and every one, their mother's essence in some way blossomed. Their fear offered opportunities for courage. Their anxiety made way for hope. Their frailty served to breed compassion. Their impermanence brought depth and meaning to their choices. The crowning jewel being their choice to love. Nuru wept at their pain, but rejoiced at their love. She felt revitalized by their dreams, their mercy, their hope, and their love. Believing at first that Obomnioma would be displeased with the universe that he had helped sire. She feared that he would witness all the sweet fruit of life taking shape and lay an axe to its very root, but she was mistaken. He too felt both disgusted and pleased by their creation. Every soul that perished magnified his glory. Every fear they felt built up his force. He therefore relented from destruction, intoxicated by the majesty of his new throne. And so, balance was struck. There would be a first breath and a last. Obomnioma would allow for his spawn to exist, as long as he could witness them wither and die.